At the end of last hour, I'm walking by Paulie, and Paulie goes, if Christian McCaffrey's career ended now, is he a Hall of Famer? And I thought, okay, random. And then I realized that Paulie probably wanted to revisit Tiki Barber's numbers with the Giants. I think Tiki Barber's a Hall of Fame running back.
You're in the minority.
Yes, I am. But if I'm going to compare his numbers to Christian McCaffrey, I don't even think it's close. Now, McCaffrey had 3 incredible years. But let's look at career rushing yards. 6,300, almost 6,400 yards for Christian McCaffrey. Tiki Barber, 10,000. Career receptions, 524 for McCaffrey, 586 for Tiki. Now, he played 2 more seasons. I think he played 10, and McCaffrey's at 8. 1,500-yard rushing seasons. McCaffrey, 0. Tiki had 3. 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Tiki had 3 seasons. Christian McCaffrey had 2. Yes, Paulie.
I'm not saying McCaffrey's going to quit the sport, but you could see with this degenerative type stuff, he has a future in the media possibly or something like that. Would he get credit if his career ended early due to injury?
I don't think it's a Terrell Davis type situation because he did win a couple of Super Bowls, was instrumental, 2,000 yards rushing. I still go back to Ricky Watters. I thought Ricky Watters, he was kind of there with Roger Craig. They started this whole hybrid where Marshall Faulk, I think those guys just felt like they were going to run. And Ricky Watters had 10,000 yards rushing, and he had 467 catches. Fred Taylor had 11,000 rushing yards. Didn't have a lot of catches, but, the running back is tricky because now it feels like you're grading them differently than you did before. The receptions, that's paramount. Now you're looking at yards from scrimmage. And I think that may be where voters go because it's really hard to differentiate between, somebody who's doing something now as opposed to the way they did it in the 70s or the 80s. And I always thought you got to 10,000 yards, you're a Hall of Famer. I don't know. That's not the case anymore because Tiki's got that. Fred Taylor's got that. I don't know if you're going to, so Tiki, Ricky, and Fred Taylor, they all have over 10,000 yards. Yes, Paulie.
You mentioned LaDainian Tomlinson being underrated. In 11 seasons, 13,684 rushing yards. Yeah. You're going in the Hall of Fame right there. He also had 624 receptions.
And I was looking at his numbers. He's second in career touchdowns to Emmett, I think. He's got like 150 touchdowns, maybe 160. He had 145 rushing touchdowns. So, you're at 160 touchdowns. But he kind of did it where, you thought of the Chargers and you're like, oh, okay, they're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. That's one of those, if he goes to the Super Bowl, plays well in the Super Bowl, then it elevates his status there. And it's blasphemous to say, let me compare LaDainian Tomlinson to Emmitt Smith. They were different running backs. Emmett was just going to get the ball and get you yards. I don't know how many catches that he had in his career. 300 catches maybe? LaDainian Tomlinson feels like a more complete back than Emmitt Smith. Although if I have to get a yard, Emmitt Smith's on the short list of running backs that I wanted. Yeah, Paulie.
Emmitt Smith had 500 carear receptions, but it was, he had a bunch of years where he caught 50 and 60 balls in his prime.
Yeah. 4 best rushing seasons for Christian McCaffrey. He had a total of 5,000 yards. Tiki's 4 best rushing seasons. He had 1,800, 1,600, 1,500, 1,300. That's 6,400 yards. But here's part of the problem is he had the fumbling issues. And also they win the Super Bowl the year after he retires. And that hurt him. But is McCaffrey a Hall of Famer right now? No, he's not. He feels like a Hall of Famer. Just the numbers aren't there. We'll talk to Chris Collinsworth about that. And by the way, he's not going to retire. At least I don't think. I still think he's trying to play. Just throwing that out there.